Hey everyone, I'm here again today to talk about homeschooling. I did a video on this yesterday and I talked about how homeschooling helps you to invest in your family. So what I want to talk about today is why homeschool. Many times, and I've shared my story, when you have come from a broken family, homeschooling allows you to have the time to build your family. And this is homeschooling should not just be for homeschooling, but education should be to benefit your family, to invest in your family. So this is something I did with my life shortly after I had my firstborn son. I had been in a church where a lot of the people in this small church had been homeschooling. I never heard of it. I'm like, what in the world is this? I never heard that you could homeschool your children. I thought it was strange, crazy, weird. And then as, I saw a lot of these families and they were really, there was some really strong families in this church and I wanted it. I saw it and I wanted it. So I started reading about how to homeschool, and coming from a broken family, this was really important to me personally because, as I've shared, my grandmother had 10 kids. I absolutely loved my grandmother. As a little girl, I was like her favorite granddaughter, and she made it well known to everybody that I was her favorite for some reason. Not only was I her firstborn, but she really favored me. And, that included, fur coats or dolls, going out shopping, going out to eat, and all kinds of things she would pamper me with. Always compliments, you're so pretty, da 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 da, you're such a pretty girl, dressing me, making sure I had, certain clothes that she would compliment me on or whatever. So this is the way it was for me with my grandmother, but her as a mother, she had 10 kids, dirt poverty in the projects. A lot of the times it was actually other people buying me stuff and her appreciating it as a grandmother because she still didn't have a lot when when I was little, and obviously I did not know that. So, so she had 10 kids in poverty, and my aunts and uncles, it was a really rough life. It was not always easy. I mean, some of those in my family were in an orphanage to help be taken care of because there was dirt poverty, and a lot of that was from choices. To be honest, we hear about how there's no equality, but we don't talk about what people do with their money. And when you have somebody who's a drinker, like my grandmother was when she was younger, or somebody who is, just whatever the circumstances, I know my grandfather had worked like 3 jobs, so that caused friction in their marriage, and therefore the marriage was not real strong, to say the least. There's been many stories, but so you have all this brokenness and all these relationships with just chaos and, uncles in jail and third marriages that you have seen aunts go through and all this chaos around you. So something for me was I wanted something better than this. I wanted to really be close to my kids. That was really important. And I had just become a Christian, and I wanted them also to have faith and good character and faith in God mostly. So as I started homeschooling, I started looking into, these books, and I'll go through these in future videos, everywhere from Ruth B. Chick to Raymond Moore to Mary Pride, Kathy Duffy, all the big names of homeschooling, to even, people now that are not as popular. I'll be talking about So I homeschooled. I had nothing to homeschool on. We really didn't have much money. I homeschooled in a trailer. We had our first son, and I started doing stuff in the kitchen with him when he was like 1. So, I started early with him, and then we had another one like a year and a half apart, and then another one. And as I was pregnant, my firstborn went through that, was seeing me pregnant, and my second one. And then later, when I had their 2 brothers, they actually were old enough to understand the home births more and the everything that we did. So life 101 kind of came into play quite a bit with just whatever was kind of going on in life. I used to teach. I also used the library. That was like my main source of curriculum. Being able to do a lot of research and look up, the different books that they needed for different subjects. I made my own curriculum. And always being able to just kind of keep an eye on where they were at, what's going on. Later on, I made transcripts. One of my sons, it was good enough to go in the military with my transcripts. So so as homeschooling for me has evolved, I went from a very traditional curriculum to starting to know my kids even more and realizing that they actually thrived even more with their own curiosity involved. Going from traditional to eclectic to unschooling has been my journey. And with one of my sons who I just finished up homeschooling with, he pretty much did a lot on his own, including reading books all the time about hiking and backpacking in a very minimalist way, so learning your weights with ounces, etc. And his music has taken off by himself. I'm not real musical, so if you really just give your kids some of the tools and cheerleading that they need to learn, they will. And so moving forward, I'm probably just going to talk about my curriculum, go through a lot of it, talk about it, and be able to help other people homeschool. And to be able to beat the odds and be able to take, coming from a broken family with a lot of different garbage going on, abandonment, neglect, garbage, just a lot of broken relationships, divorce, and to be able to come out of that. And I've been told, Melissa, you're the only one out of the whole family who's come out of this. And to be able to take the time through minimalism, through going without, living in a trailer, and really living off the grid, I was able to take all kinds of information, incorporate it, change values, and incorporate that into a whole different life for my family. And anybody can do this if you're willing to put the work in. So that's what I want to talk about. I want to be able to help other women have the confidence to homeschool, not really so much which curriculum you're going to use, but just an encouragement or somebody you can go to and just, for advice on knowing your kids better, how to get in there. So I'm hoping to do that too. So thanks for joining me, and I will be talking about this soon.